Rare Books USA eBay store with the monthly reports. So every month moving forward with my new YouTube channel, Rare Books USA, I will be going over my monthly sales on my eBay store. What have I learned? What I want to work on, and such, and we'll track the sales and stuff. But we'll leave the true financials to the quarterly reports. Rare Books USA is a subsidiary of Data Productions Media, and to just cut to the chase, we're looking at 25,000 in revenue for forward guidance in 2025. Yes, that's hefty. I only made 7,000 on eBay in the first 6 months in 2024. So I'm extrapolating double of what I probably would have done in the very first year, around $12,000 to $14,000. So I'm doubling that. I have never did 12,000 before in selling because I've never had the opportunity. But I think we can get 25 due to the compounding effect of getting better at selling, getting better books, and just already having a great store. That's very important. And so just a little bit about the industry of books is because why would I want to get into this industry to begin with? It's still growing, especially in the bookseller space. In the past, the book industry dates back thousands of years, with the earliest forms of books being clay tablets with written inscriptions, which can be traced back to around the 3rd millennium BCE. However, the major turning point in book production came with the invention of movable type by Johannes Gutenberg in the 15th century, which significantly increased the accessibility of printed books. In 1935, we're jumping up. 1935, Alan Lane launched his first Pioneer Penguin paperbacks. So it was literally under 100 years ago where paperbacks really became a thing, and that opened up growth in the market again. Cheaper books for people to read, and such, more transportable, and such. You can use them a lot more. And in the 1950s, post-World War II, sparked the growth and expansion in the book industry with scaling up paperback books in university presses, all right? University presses with the GI Bill, soldiers coming back home, wanting an education, that started a lot more publishing houses. Obviously, we understand Cambridge University Press is super old, but there's a lot of university presses that came to be in the 1950s due to the GI Bill and growing university economy in America. And just a little tidbit at the bottom is stolen Mesopotamian tablet acquired by Hobby Lobby. So Hobby Lobby spent $1.7 million on a cuneiform clay tablet that it wanted to be showcased in a museum, and they get partial rent off that and such, but apparently it was stolen. And why I bring that up, why is this important, is because there's big institutions out here that will buy things along these lines. Will the book be the clay tablet of the future with all this technology that's happening now? Probably. And so will Hobby Lobby in the future, whatever that looks like, it might not be a Hobby Lobby, it might be a different company with a lot of money. Will they buy your book, that your family has held in your family line? Or will they buy books at millions of dollars to hold history that isn't on like the web AI that we have now? So these are the things in mind, because the past gives you guidance for the future, even if it doesn't predict the future. And now the book industry in the present, right? This is important. The reason why I'm going through all this is because you have to understand why I'm getting into the book industry. Why am I adding this? Why would I want to take this public, right? And so the present, the book industry, the global literacy rate, or the percentage of people age 15 or older who can read and write, is 87%, which means more than 5 billion people can read and write today, compared to fewer than 100 million 2 centuries ago. And we talk about books, ephemera, posters, anything with letters and words. Part of the appeal somebody would want it is because they can read it and they understand what it is. People can understand photos and pictures and stuff, but the next level of understanding what something says that could be the reason why to buy. And so 87% of the world can read right now. That means the market for what we sell as resellers is wide open. You just have to have the right product for the right person. The global book market size was estimated to 150 billion in 2024 and expected to grow at 4.2 CAGR rate from 2025 to 2030. And when you think about comparisons, Pfizer, at the time I did this, was the 92nd largest company in the world with $155 million market cap. So you can compare Pfizer's size to the size of the book industry, the global book industry. Rising consumer spending on books, driven by increases in income, growing expense in reading, interest in reading, along with innovations in format that enhance the reading experience, are key factors fueling the market growth. The market is largely dominated by academic publishers, while non-academic and trade publishing holds a relatively small share. Academic publishers have a close symbiotic relationship with educational system, primarily serving schools, colleges, universities, research institutions that focus on technical and medical and professional education. So yeah, like the education industry, institutional industry within the books, is huge. They're the big buyers and such. And for people who don't know what compound annual growth rate is, it's an accurate way to calculate and determine returns on investments, portfolios, or anything that can rise and fall in value over time. So what's a good CAGR? For companies with large capitalizations, 5 to 12% is good. For small to mid-sized companies, 15 to 30% is good. Startup companies, on the other hand, should have a CAGR from 100 to 500% if you're really small, right? So for my business, at least my book selling business, that's why I need to see that, right? That's why, if I extrapolate it out about 12,000 in 1 year, that's why I want to see that 100% increase in my revenue in 2025. And the book industry, the future. The COVID pandemic acted as a catalyst for continued decline in physical bookstores, even though that's changing. Bookstores are becoming in style, but online selling still becoming a huge thing. Lockdowns, social distancing measures, and concerns over public safety have led to an increase in online shopping. The global secondhand books market is poised for remarkable growth, with a projected 8% CAGR propelling it to a valuation of $445 billion by the end of 2031. The significant expansion comes from the heels of market size of $27 billion in 2024, showcasing thriving industry that continues to flourish. So we're secondhand sellers, right? I'm a secondhand seller. I get used books. I resell them online. So we're growing at an 8% CAGR. It's pretty solid. That's double what the book industry is growing at right now. And the question to you is, are you going to get a piece of that $18 billion pie if you're in the industry, right? I plan to get a piece. So when we look at the book industry versus the world, we'll just look at some other companies real quick, just to, a quick comparison. We know 150 billion market size, CAGR at 4.2. So, and also secondhand book industry, we've got 27 billion with a CAGR of 8%. We look at the U.S. electric vehicles market, it's projected to reach 104 billion in 2025 just in the U.S. with an annual growth rate of 10.5%. But worldwide, it's going to be $828 billion, and it's going to be growing at 6.5. So I have Tesla up here because when you look at valuations, it's already valued at over $1 trillion. It's larger not only than the U.S. market, but the whole global market for electric vehicles. So the market is saying that there's more to Tesla than just EVs. That could be debatable. I could make an argument to say that it is more, but should it be viewed as more? I think that's my argument. I don't think it should be viewed more than just electric vehicles. So it is a very rich valuation, and you're paying for growth not even really accounted for yet in the industry, right? But hey, Tesla, if you had $100 in Tesla stock at the market close at the end of the day in 2010, that $100 would now be worth $30,000. And then another one, tobacco products worldwide, 988 billion in 2025. It's growing at a 2.5 CAGR rate. So it's a declining industry. It's not really growing that fast at all. It might get to $1 trillion in 2026, but the interesting thing about the tobacco industry is, even though it's had so many things work against it, of course, in a declining industry, you had Philip Morris, which is, I mean, hands down the best American stock in history. You know, investing in $1 in 2025 in the Ultra Group, formerly Philip Morris, turned into $2.65 million in 100 years. That's what you call a compound. So regardless if you smoke or not, I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't invest in tobacco stocks, but they serve as a good example that you can make money in declining industries too, just like you can make money in growth industries. And so the book industry, though it's not a super grower, there are segments of the industry that are growing heftily. And so that's why I think we have an opportunity at Data Productions Media to do something with it, because a lot of the institutional people are getting by the wayside because there's not really much money into it anymore. And we're not doing a book reading today, but this is what we'll be reading as we go along on my new channel, Rare Books USA. We'll be looking at economic surveys of the book industry. We'll be learning about what makes the book industry tick. Obviously, there's been changes since this came out in like the 1960s and 1930s, but there's a lot of things that haven't changed, and that's the things that are just principles. So we'll be going over that. And so let's look at the Data P consolidated balance sheet 2024. The total assets we had at the end of the year was $12,460.87. We also had a dividend portfolio that includes the dividend portfolio at $2,600. That has the $5,000 of cash on hand. That also has the inventory of books as assets on hand, which all goes at $12,000 of total assets. And I total spent buying books in 2024, considering assets before they sell and then becoming an expense, is about $6,826.06. So almost $7,000 I spent in 2024 on books, and a little over half of that is still within my inventory. But I've sold quite a bit as well. So that's the consolidated balance sheet. So we're definitely asset heavy. We have assets. We have enough cash to run. Like, we're up and running now, so we're looking good there. It's now just getting those sales and finding the growth where we can. So we're looking at the income statement. Gross profit was $4,257.11. That's taking out all fees and stuff. I made about $7,000 on eBay. But when you take out all the fees and expenses and labels and such, that's what it comes out. Then you look at the expenses. So give or take, my net income was about $92 in the green. Now, by full transparency, I forgot to put my mileage in there for the car, which is about $300. So, I mean, if we're counting hairs, I'm probably still a little bit in the negative on net income, but overall it's actually pretty even, which is nice. And I'll have better numbers at the end of 2025, because obviously it's tax season. So I've been getting my philosophy on how I want to do my accounting and books and how I want to expense things. And it's looking really good. So I'm really excited. Our expenses were $4,000 this year. We'll just get better. I mean, we'll get the margins better. There's not really too much to say here. The money is in the assets, right? My money's in the assets, and it's just my duty to make sure I can sell these books. It's my duty that I can continue to compound my money and continue to get those revenue streams from my social media outlets, right? So, the income should come. So this is just a January 2025 snapshot of my YouTube. And so this is what we're talking about. This is why, even though it was a hefty guidance for me, $25,000 on eBay, this is why I feel like I have an opportunity if I keep doing what I need to do. So to end the year 2024, right, from December 1st to December 31st, which was the holiday season, Christmas, people wanting to get gifts and stuff. Like that was major, right? Like that's everybody. Like Q4 is a major year for, I mean, a major part of the year for book resellers, all of them. And I doubled. Like my largest month before December was only about $1,000. And so I doubled that in the month of December at the hottest time. But now let's look at this. Through the first 26 days of January, and this is Sunday when you're seeing when this is live right now. So I still have all of Sunday and all of up to next Friday, the 31st of January. I'm very close to already matching what I did during the holiday season in December. That's what you call compounding as a business, the rolling ball effect. And that's why I guided how I guided, because I knew I already had my inventory. I'm getting better at finding good inventory, getting better at pricing, and expense management and all that stuff. So this is why, like, I feel the way I feel. This is why I feel like I should double what the extrapolation should technically be. And so right now, through the first month of 2025, we have $1,615 in sales, but net sales we have 1,067. And you take a couple more off. So we're looking at like, 950, 900 that I'm actually taking home from this month, which is nice. I'm actually taking over $900 from a side gig a month. It's going to be a full-time one day though. And so that's the snapshot for the book reselling business and kind of the financials.